Let's talk about using a limited palette using Phthalo Turquoise. Let's do this. I'm Michelle Manriquez from Drop That Brush, and I want to help people who are non-artists become artists. Like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Probably one of the hardest things to do as an artist is dealing with colors, which is why I'm doing these limited palette series. I want you to have an opportunity to try some of the fun colors, and you can see what happens and why I decided to use it, not use it, or how I could use that particular color. Some colors are really good with being layered, placed layer by layer. Some colors look beautiful on the palette. Some should only be mixed on paper. So that's why we do this, is we learn which ones will work with what best ways we can use it. So this is how I set up my colors and determine what colors I'm going to use. The flowers are actually pink, but I'm choosing to make other colors in there so it's not just solely pink. Why am I using other colors than pink? It is a pink flower, right? I could just use pink. I just think it gives it a little more interest, and that's why I like to have how other blends will be and how it'll be more exciting. That's my goal. And so it also allows me to have lights and darkers in the flower. I'm using a CMY color wheel, which is a little different. And I want you to know that that's what I'm using for this demo. And I have a video on it if you want to introduce the difference between an RBG, red, blue, yellow, versus cyan, magenta, yellow color wheel, because they are different. So I have a video up top. Somebody up there will. I'll put it over there. All the ones I'm working today is Daniel Smith's Professional Watercolor. One is Coral, which is my magenta. And also I'm using Lilac. And I'm gonna check out red and see how it looks. So for yellow, it will be Aussie Red Gold, which is a beautiful color, very vibrant. For my cyan color, I'm using Phthalo Turquoise, which you don't normally use. So this is kind of be a fun check. So I'm not sure how it works. So we're gonna see together. Let's go play with paint, yay! So we're gonna test some colors. And I'm looking at my color wheel. It's the CMY color wheel. Trying to determine, I like these flowers, but I want to determine what color I want to use. So the one I'm gonna really check out today is Phthalo Turquoise. Isn't that pretty? Has a pretty, it has a light, we can get a light, a very, very dark. It has, I mean, it can really go from nothing to a lot of dark. So how pretty that is. All right, let's check this out. Now, it sets over here, if you can look, it is bright in the blue-green shade. I know that this flower has pinks. And I can choose what kind of pinks I want. And so I'm gonna try a coral, which is kind of a weird color. I guess it's kind of in the red tone. It's red. And then I would like to try Aussie, I think it's gold. I'll give you the name of it. And that runs, you know, around when it dries, orange yellow, lilac. And I'm just gonna try a red too. See what it looks like. Now, this is always gonna be a darker value than everything else. The lilac is running right here in the violet red range. So let's start with coral. So when you're checking these out, you work on the lighter color first, and you just grab a little bit and mix it in and see what you get. Okay, so it's a little darker, and put a little more on. Now I'm pretty sure this can make a nice gray, so I'm gonna see if I can get a nice gray. So I could use that as glass if I wanted to. Let's see if I just take a touch of this and give it a little bit more. I do have to have a little bit more. Those are pretty colors, nothing wrong with those. All right, the next one I'm gonna look at is Aussie. Now it probably has a 2 value, it's not very impressive. Now I'm just gonna use a little bit. All I'm doing is just to change the color a little bit. Okay, that's a pretty green. A little bit more. A little bit more. Okay, that really looks just phthalo green. Interesting. And some more. Let's see. Let's do it this way. So these are the kind of greens I can use. And those are pretty. There's nothing wrong with those. Absolutely lovely. Next would be lilac. Except for the greens, I don't think I would ever mix these on the palette. I think I would mix it on the paper, and I think you'll get a much better look. But I just want you to see what it would do, because it's important if we have an idea, so there's no shock. Oh, that didn't work. Those are pretty, then that's reasonably nice. That's quite pretty. And let's see what happens. Now I've stayed kind of on the pinky tone. Let's see what happens when I do it with red. All right, well, personally, I probably would not use the red with this. I don't think that's a very pretty color. I was going to put it on the paper. I need to know what it's gonna do. If I was going to put this on the flower, so let's start with the lightest color first, okay? And juicy, lots of juice, lots of water. Let's just see what it does. Will that be a pretty color into a flower? Would I think, oh yes, that's really pretty. There's probably where I'm gonna pretty much kind of put my flower. So how do I wanna put it in the background? If I use different greens and really focus there with just a little bit of this. I do need a little bit of it, but how about if I make the background with basically the yellow? And so if I have yellow here and kind of matched it in, then maybe I'll put some of that in, pop it in here, there, and everywhere. How about I put a little bit of this just here, there, and everywhere to make it. So mainly more greens. That works for me. Now, so I'm playing. I'm feeling what it goes. What's it do when I kind of move it in? How does it look like with the lilac? I'm gonna come here. Maybe I want an area that has to be more green. What's that do with it when I add that? Okay, kind of is ugly, so I probably won't do that. But you know, how do I know if I don't play? So that's kind of what I'd like you to pay attention to is how do you play with your colors so that you can learn? So now I do like when I add in this color, this looks okay. But when I put the lilac, it wasn't that pretty. So to note for that, that's, you know. But see here, when I added this really got dull. This works, that doesn't. So I'll use that maybe in the dark part of the flower. And here, I won't use that in the background because it doesn't look good. So there you go. Okay, frankly, I just like playing. It's reality. God, know what I need. And you know, that's the reality of why I'm doing this. Is it because it gives us an idea of what I can expect. So there was no shock. I don't like shock. Shock's not happy. All right. Do you have any questions? And we'll be painting this next week. The upshot is phthalo blue works really well on the palette with yellow and with pinks. Not so good with coral or red. So that kind of lets me know how I want to handle it. And that's why I do the practice test, because then I know what's going to happen. I don't like surprises, not huge surprises. I at least want an idea, because each color will totally respond differently. I might take the lilac and the phthalo to have a stormy sky. That can make a beautiful color of a stormy sky. There's also a color that looks very much like blue jean material. I could make that using those. And I think that was coral and turquoise. I have birds. Can you hear them? That's annoying. But when I mix it on the paper, absolutely opposite. It's amazing. So here I go. Coral really pops the greens. So if I've got the Aussie Gold with the Phthalo Turquoise, and then throw in a little bit of the coral, beautiful color. But the lilac kind of sucked out the life of the greens, getting really bold, ucky, yuck color. So, you know, it's good to know, because what I do on the palette is going to be totally different what I do on the paper. So I hope that you had a good, fine time and you enjoyed this. In the first wash, I'm going to throw that very light phthalo just slowly here and there in the background, just for fun. Just a little pop here and a little pop there. Nothing dramatic. I'm going to avoid using phthalo turquoise in my petals. I would like that to be very pretty colors and very soft. And so I'm excited. So a little research will really help you determine what is going to work with you and what kind of things you need to change, whether it's mixing on palette versus mixing on paper. And I wouldn't have learned this if I didn't check this out. So you know what? When you don't know what you're doing and you're playing with the brush, drop that brush, like, subscribe, and ring that bell. You have a wonderful day, and I will see you next week for tulips. Bye.